Have you ever heard the saying, you become dangerous when you know your shadow? It sounds intense, right? Like something out of a movie. But what if I told you this isn't about becoming a villain or a threat to others? It's about becoming powerful in a way you've never imagined. It's about unlocking a level of self-awareness that makes you unstoppable, not because you're aggressive, but because you're whole. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into what your shadow is, why knowing it is the ultimate power-up, and how you can start this journey to become truly, authentically, and yes, dangerously you. So what is this shadow we're talking about? The term comes from the brilliant psychologist Carl Jung. He described the shadow as the dark side of our personality. It's the part of ourselves that we repress, deny, or are just plain unaware of. Think about all the traits you don't like to admit you have. Maybe it's a flicker of jealousy when a friend succeeds, a flash of anger you quickly push down, or a deep-seated fear of not being good enough. These aren't evil parts of you. They are simply human. Society, our upbringing, our experiences, they all teach us that certain feelings and thoughts are bad or unacceptable. So we shove them into a metaphorical basement in our minds. We lock the door and pretend they don't exist. This collection of hidden parts, the envy, the insecurity, the rage, the greed, the laziness, that's your shadow. It's everything you've decided you are not, but secretly it's still there, influencing you from the dark. Now, here's the crucial part. Ignoring your shadow doesn't make it go away. In fact, it makes it stronger. When you repress these parts of yourself, they don't just disappear, they fester. They start to control you in ways you don't even realize. Ever snap at someone for a tiny reason and wonder where that came from? That was probably your shadow, leaking out. Ever find yourself judging someone else really harshly for a flaw? Jung would say you're likely projecting. That is, you're seeing a disowned part of your own shadow in them. It's easier to point at someone else's mess than to clean up our own basement, right? This is how the shadow stays in control. It keeps us reactive, judgmental, and blind to our own motivations. We end up living a half-life, constantly running from ourselves, wondering why we keep self-sabotaging or getting into the same negative patterns. This is where the dangerous part comes in, and it's so exciting. When you finally decide to turn around, open that basement door and look your shadow in the eye, everything changes. You stop being a victim of your own unconscious patterns. This is what it means to know your shadow. It's not about embracing darkness or becoming a bad person. It's about integration. It's about admitting, yes, a part of me can be envious, or yes, under stress, I have a capacity for anger. By admitting this, you take its power away. It's no longer a hidden monster pulling the strings. It's just a part of you that you can now understand and manage. Imagine a warrior who only trains with one arm, pretending the other doesn't exist. They'd be imbalanced, weak, and predictable. But when they acknowledge and train their other arm, they become a complete, formidable fighter. That's what shadow work does for you. The person who has confronted their capacity for anger is far less likely to fly into a blind rage. They can feel the anger rising, recognize it, and choose a constructive response instead of a destructive one. They become emotionally disciplined. The person who acknowledges their own insecurities is less likely to be crippled by criticism. They can hear feedback without their entire self-worth crumbling. This self-possession is a superpower. You become less reactive and more responsive. You're no longer easily manipulated by others or by your own triggers. You move through the world with a quiet confidence that comes from deep self-knowledge. This is what makes you dangerous. You're no longer predictable or controllable. You are in the driver's seat of your own life. So how do you actually do this? How do you start to get to know your shadow? It's a journey, not a destination, but it starts with radical honesty and self-compassion. The first step is to simply pay attention. Pay attention to your projections. When you have a really strong negative emotional reaction to someone, what is it about them that's bothering you so much? Is it their arrogance, their laziness, their need for attention? Ask yourself honestly, is there a tiny part of me that is like that or that fears being like that? Don't judge the answer, just observe. Your triggers are signposts pointing directly to your shadow. Another powerful tool is journaling.
At the end of the day, write down moments where you felt uncomfortable, angry, ashamed, or envious. Explore those feelings without judgment. What was the situation? What thoughts went through your head? Don't try to fix it or justify it. Just get it out on paper. The act of writing brings the unconscious into the conscious light. You start to see patterns. You might notice that you always feel insecure around a certain type of person or in a particular situation. This is gold. This is your shadow communicating with you. Creative expression is another amazing gateway. Drawing, painting, writing stories, playing music. These can all be ways to let your shadow speak in a symbolic language. Don't worry about it being good. Just let whatever wants to come out, come out. You might be surprised by the themes or feelings that emerge. And finally, and this is a big one, consider talking to a professional. A therapist or a counselor trained in depth psychology can provide a safe, supportive space to explore these deeper parts of yourself. They can guide you through the process, help you make sense of what you find, and ensure you're doing it in a healthy, constructive way. Remember, this isn't about shaming yourself. It's about liberating yourself. The ultimate goal of shadow work is wholeness. It's about integrating all parts of yourself, the light and the dark, to become a more complete and authentic human being. The person who has done this work is truly a force to be reckoned with. They are compassionate because they understand the darkness in themselves and can therefore hold space for it in others. They are courageous because they have faced their own inner demons. They are authentic because they are no longer wearing a mask pretending to be perfect. They are powerful because their energy is no longer wasted on repressing parts of themselves. All that energy is now available for creating the life they want. So when we say you become dangerous when you know your shadow, we mean you become dangerously authentic, dangerously creative, dangerously compassionate, dangerously free. You're no longer playing a small game, limited by fear and self-deception. You are playing with a full deck. This is the path to true self-mastery. It's not easy and it requires courage, but the reward is a life lived with depth, meaning, and an unshakable sense of your own power. You stop being a puzzle with missing pieces and become a complete, beautiful mosaic. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive today. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments what your journey with your shadow has been like. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more content that helps you unlock your full potential. Until next time, be brave, be curious, and be whole.